Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome to a new DC live stream. I'm your host, Matthew Batiri, here from Breakout Solutions with the latest and greatest Bitcoin technical analysis video. So without further ado, let's dive into the charts. Let's figure out if Bitcoin will continue its run to the upside, or have we stalled and will we now plummet down to the low teens? All right, so if we sort of zoom in on this macro picture, we have been going sideways since about June. So 20th of June is when we sort of started this sideways consolidation. And this could be seen as a bit of a Wyckoff accumulation pattern. If you don't know too much about Wyckoff, basically it was brought to, I guess, many retail investors' forefront when we had this Wyckoff distribution back here in March and May. So all you need to do is you need to type in Wyckoff. There you go, Wyckoff accumulation. So there's Wyckoff accumulation, and then there's Wyckoff distribution. So right now we could be in a bit of a Wyckoff accumulation. And if anything, if we are in this pattern, we're probably around this LPS section, getting ready for the push to the upside. Me personally, I still don't think we're going to be breaking out of this sideways consolidation for a while. The only reason is, even though the charts kind of do look somewhat bullish, the macro environment is still very bearish. New news over the week that North and South Korea are getting into a bit of a missile shoot off. There's still a lot of tension with China and the US. We still have the Ukraine-Russia war going. We have the highest record number of interest rate hikes in England. They got a new prime minister. Their currency is dropping heavily. There's energy crisis and shortage in Europe. So there's so much bad news. How can we possibly continue moving to the upside? It could be an absolute bluff by the whales, but we're going to have to wait and see. My key target, because I like to trade on the macro, is I'm going to remain bearish until Bitcoin closes a weekly candle above $25,000. So until that happens, I'm still expecting downside. We need to see a change in structure. And what I mean by change in structure is, you can see that on our way down, we had a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high. And we haven't yet made a lower low. But what we need to do to see a change is we need to see a higher low. So we've technically created this low here. We've got a higher low. And what we need to do now is we need to create a higher high that is above this recent high. And that would give me complete confidence that the market is recovering, and I can obviously put more of my funds back into the market. But until that happens, I'm going to have limited exposure in cryptocurrencies. I never sell everything. The fact of the matter is I believe in this technology. So if everyone sold everything, we'd have complete capitulation, and everyone would not believe in cryptocurrencies and digital assets. So that's the forefront. I always keep some money on the side, some crypto on the side. But in regards to what I'm seeing in the charts, I still don't see any signs of huge strength on the macro picture. So I need to remain cautious, and hopefully you are too. So let's zoom into the charts, and let's see what we can see on a weekly scale. So what I'd like to showcase is right now, if you just not worry too much about these larger three, you know what, I'm going to remove them so that I don't confuse you. So what we can see is we closed, we opened the weekly candle right here at this point here. So this is now a weekly support. So if we do come down to these levels, and I like my weekly levels to be in yellow. I don't know why, I just like yellow. So that is a weekly yellow. I need to go style and go yellow as well. So we have a weekly support at 20,600. So now the Bitcoin is sort of retracing a little bit. I'm going to look for the first support around 20,600. If we break below 20,600, that's not very good. We have another weekly support. If I clone that, on the previous weekly candle, and that is a naked weekly support. So is that support right there. So we have two decent supports before we have complete capitulation. So we would expect Bitcoin to bounce from 20,600 if it gets there, and if it breaks down even lower, even 19,560. So let's go into the daily. So we had this sort of rising channel that we broke above over the last couple of days, but now we're back into the channel. So what I like to use is this tool called fixed range volume, and that allows me to see the volume range profile of any asset. So what you do is you then click the asset from wherever you like, and I normally like to see I usually like to make rectangles when I look at price action. So you can see right now we're in this sort of rectangle. Someone's made a comment. Let me just quickly check the comment. New dating for all tastes. Okay, so we've got someone put user in timeout, and I'm going to block that user because they're writing some rubbish. So what you normally tend to see in assets is you'll get some sideways trading range. So this is our current sideways trading range, and then you get a break up or a break down. So you can see here, this was a sideways trading range. Here was a sideways trading range. And you're like, oh, Matt, these ranges are quite big. Well, yeah, that's what assets do. They tend to have either large or small sideways trading ranges, and then you get a harsh breakdown, and then you consolidate again, harsh breakdown, consolidate again, breakdown, because we're in the bear market right now. So when we're in the bull market, you'll see the exact same thing. So you'll see us, consolidating sideways for a bit, pump to the upside. Consolidate sideways for a bit, pump to the upside, consolidate sideways, and then we break down. So right now we're in this sort of sideways consolidation, and we are awaiting either further imminent capitulation or a break to the upside. So if we zoom in on the daily, what can we see? So we can see here that I've drawn this fixed range profile. So we have a value area high. Okay, so even though the price broke above this sort of value area high, the value area is like the range within the range. It's where most of the volume occurred. You can see these bars here on the left-hand side, how they're wavy. That shows the amount of Bitcoin traded at that price range. The higher the peaks, like here, like here, and like here, means there was a lot of Bitcoin traded at that point, and we're probably going to see that as resistance if we are below it, or if we're above it, it's going to be support. So right now we have resistance. Let me hide that. So we have resistance right here, and you can see the price was resisted, found resistance there. We're going to have support around here, and we're going to have support at the point of control right here. So resistance, support, and support. So what we can do now is we can sort of figure out, okay, so if Bitcoin moves to the upside, the value area high is also resistance. So we have resistance at 21,300, which is where we topped out a couple of days ago. And now we also have, if we do break to the upside, we'll have resistance at 21,760. And you can see from some previous trading where we had some consolidation here, that number is going to act as resistance. So I'm just going to remove those so we don't have too many lines on the chart. So now that I've explained the value area to you guys, what we can also see is we can see ranges within ranges. So we can see that even though we had this big sideways range, we also started forming another range right about here. So what you can do is you can pull another fixed range profile from this consolidation here, and we can see that the value area high of this range is about here, 20,466. Now, if you remember, I had that number 20,620 from the weekly support. So we do have two lines of support very close to each other. So if I am looking to trade this, I have to wait till the price comes down to these areas, and I want to see a reaction, and I want to see what type of volume we see pushing the price in the opposite direction, or we're going to see something dump. And then obviously I need to look for divergences on the MACD, the RSI, stochastic RSI, and any other instrument that I like to use. So right now we have the value area high and weekly very close to each other. And whenever you're a trader, you're trying to look for confluence. So if you use multiple indicators, which I don't really, I wouldn't recommend if you're a beginner trader, but when, for example, I trade a lot, so I tend to use a lot of indicators, and I want to see which indicators swing my decision more to one way than the other way. Nothing is ever going to be 100%, but if you can get more indicators to give you confirmation of something that, or a price point that there could be a reaction, you really want to keep your eyes on the chart when price reaches that price point, so you can make a decision: should you long or should you short? So on the daily, we can see that we have a naked daily, an untapped daily right here. Let me put my that. So if price does come down, I like to make my dailies in blue, so I'm going to change that to blue. I'm going to go daily. I'm going to make the writing in blue. So we have a daily support as well, around 20,174. Now, how do I determine that that is support? Well, it's called like a naked daily point of support. The reason being is, as you can see with this candle, we never had a preceding candle come back down to these price ranges to show that there was support. So this is what's called a naked daily point of support. So right now we have a weekly up here, we have a value area high, and we have a daily. So I'm looking to see when price gets to these levels, is there going to be a reaction? Now, I've shown you that I have sort of blocked out, that I've pulled the fixed range profile for the entire sideways range. I've pulled one for this range, and now we kind of have this range right here. So I'm going to pull another fixed range profile from where we had this breakout and see how we cleared this value area high. I'm just going to basically take it from this candle to here to have a look at what confluence I can see. Alrighty, so now let's zoom into the charts. I'm going to go into the 4 hour. So we can see that the value area of this entire sideways range, that we have the point of control, meaning the most amount of Bitcoin traded during this sideways consolidation, is at 20,620. So when price comes down to here, I'm expecting it to act as support. I need to wait till price gets down there. I need to see divergences on my indicators, such as market cipher, such as RSI, such as the MACD, in order to feel comfortable longing this point of control. You can see that right now, a negative thing about this price action is we're now breaking back into the value area of this sideways range. And you never want to break back into the sideways range, because that usually means we're going to at least test the point of control firstly, and then probably even come back down to the value area low. So we've broken back into the value area. We haven't closed a large scale time frame in this area. So if the 4 hour candle closes in an hour and 45 minutes under 20,882, you can bet your bottom dollar we're going to come down to 20,620. I want to see some support at 620 before I long. If we don't see any support and we break through that point of control, we have the value area high of this range right here at 20,472. And then do we have any other confluence? Well, you can see where I have this daily. We have a lot of volume here, a lot of Bitcoin traded. So I really want to mark this point out as another big area of support. So 20,225. So you're probably like, oh, Matt, you've got a lot of lines on this. The price could stop at 20,620, 20,472, 20,200. Like, why so many prices? Well, the thing is, I'm looking for confluence amongst many indicators. And if you're a trader, especially if you're doing scalping or you're day trading, you need to keep an eye on the charts to see what is going to happen at those price points. Because when you're scalping, you might be in a trade for less than 5 minutes, maybe up to an hour. If you're a swing trader, it could be a couple of days or even weeks or months. So I like to be a macro type trader, because I don't really want to sit in front of the charts and watch candlesticks all day. I would go a little bit crazy. So I like to look at the macro picture. So on the macro picture, what I'm seeing, if I go back to the weekly and I turn on some of my indicators, I can clearly see that on the weekly, we are completely overextended on those stochastic RSIs. On the stochastic RSI, we have the 2 moving averages right now. They are looking to start curving to the downside. You can see right now, if I sort of zoom out, you can see that the blue and orange line never really go above the 100th percentile. So now these two lines are completely extended, which tells me that as of next week, this blue line is going to take a right-hand turn, so a right hook, and this orange line is probably going to be a little bit higher. So we're likely going to top out sometime during this week if we haven't already topped out at 21,400, and we're going to start making our way down, because if I draw a line at every time that blue moving average moved over the orange, we're going to see a pattern of Bitcoin breaking down, and therefore it was a good short. So let's have a look. Let's look at the corresponding lines. Let me just remove that. Let me remove the MACD so everything's nice and clear. Now we can clearly see that every time I've drawn this vertical line that we basically were followed, let me just make sure it's the blue crossing over the orange, we can basically see that Bitcoin started selling off quite dramatically, okay? So we had a big sell-off here from 48K to where we are now. Then we had the all-time high. We had this pullback from the secondary bull run pump from 52,000 to 38,000. This one was, I guess, I wouldn't say a false signal, but we did have a high of 42,000 and came all the way back to 28,000. So it's still a pretty big pullback. And you can see that these two lines are quite extended. We should see a crossover next week or the week after. So if anything, we're going to see maybe a little bit of sideways movement or downwards from here. It looks like Bitcoin has topped out, and once again, it has failed to create a higher high. So if we look at just the current price action, so we create a low. Where's my little brush? We create a low. We have a lower high on the macro picture. So talking about these highs. We have not yet created a low, but we keep forming these lower highs, which is, not really good. We're kind of still in this, really rough triangle, you could kind of say. If you want to draw like a really butchered triangle, you can kind of say that we're kind of, even if we use that one, you can see that we had this sort of triangle we broke to the upside, but we haven't really sort of followed through with much price action. So right now, you can see even on the daily stochastic is now the moving averages has crossed over. They're also in the overbought territory. So it's completely normal that we're seeing a bit of a sell-off. But we do have a lot of support. The biggest support that we do have currently is 19,159. So we want to see Bitcoin supported there, but we need to see some news supporting the price action. Until we see some positive news in the market, Apple adopting Bitcoin, United States making Bitcoin legal tender, we're still going to really struggle. You're going to find that there's always negative news during a bear market that just suppresses the price because everyone is really bearish. Everyone thinks Bitcoin's going to zero. But what we need is just we need a really good spark of great news. We need the technicals to line up. So we need basically the stochastic RSI and the weekly to be down in the oversold territory rather than the overbought territory. And we just need things to line up, and we haven't had that yet. So right now, Bitcoin is looking at wanting to sell off. Now, as Bitcoin is sort of selling off right now, we can see that on the 4-hour, we have the stochastic RSI quite low, which means we are approaching a bit of a bounce or at least some sideways consolidation. And looks like, 20,600 could be sort of our first stop. So as Bitcoin does come down here, we should see a bit of a bounce. Then we might see a bounce back up to the golden pocket of this sell-off. So from here to, let's say, the weekly, Bitcoin then could come back up to around about 21,200, which is in line with this parallel channel that Bitcoin was in previously. So you can see we bounced around, down, up, boom. We had a bit of a breakout. It's a bit of a fake out. A lot of people here probably FOMO'd long thinking, hey, we're going back up to 25K. Lots of people sort of would have opened up longs right here. And then you've got all the market makers shorting this baby all the way back down to wherever they want. So we can see that the midpoint of this sideways channel lines up as well with the point of control and the weekly support. So we have a lot of support here around 20,600. I should be expecting a bit of a jump, but is it going to be enough to sort of continue our push to the upside? I don't really think so. I think that On the macro side, the daily and the weekly stochastic RSI is overbought. If we chuck on the MACD, so let's remove the stochastic RSI, which is only giving us bad news. Let's turn on the MACD. We can see that on the weekly. Let's go to the MACD on the weekly. Okay, so moving averages are still moving up. We're still printing green histogram candles, so I guess MACD is bullish on the weekly. But on the daily, we can see that the moving averages are above the zero line. We've started printing some lighter histogram candles, which is sort of bearish, and we have a divergence. So we created a high in price, but the histogram candles have created a lower low. And we've also seen that if we just chuck on the normal RSI, let's have a look. Okay, so we do have a slight bearish divergence as well on the RSI. So if I pinpoint that top to that top, you can see there's a slight decrease in height in these spikes, and the price made a higher high. So that is a bearish divergence on the daily, and we've closed a couple of daily candles since then. So yeah, that's not good news. Whenever we see a bearish divergence on the daily, that usually means a bit of a sell-off. Let's have a look at the last one that we got. Okay, here's an example, very similar. So we created a higher high here in the price action. And then if we go to the corresponding RSI right here, so from here to here, it was a bit lower. Okay, if I just zoom in, you can see that this peak here was lower than this peak, right? That is bearish divergence. When a price makes higher high, but the RSI, so relative strength index, does not make a higher high, we then have a sell-off. And then we had a sell-off of about, 10%. So right now we have a bearish divergence on the daily. So we have to look at areas where Bitcoin can get support. There's no point talking about bullish prices until we see bullish divergence, which is the opposite of a bearish divergence. So what we would need to see is for example, we need to see a lower low in price from this low, for example. So let's just say it's a lower low. We get to this weekly. Let me just remove that. And we need the RSI here. We need the RSI to make a higher low on the bottom here. So if this purple line comes down and touches this green line, we can continue the bullish stance. But until that occurs right now, Bitcoin is in a bit of a bother. Alrighty, I've been yabbing on for 22 minutes. I see that I've got 5 people online. Guys, I would really appreciate it if you, whilst you're watching this video, let me show you exactly what it is that I would like you to do, because it's really simple, really simple. Decrypting crypto, decrypting crypty. Let's see if decrypting crypto. So on the video that you're currently watching, which is, where are we? Right here, there is this little button. So on the video, there's this little button right here, this little thumb. If you could just press that for me, that'd mean the absolute world to me, because that helps support the channel. That makes sure that you guys are enjoying the content. There we go. I got a like. Fantastic. If you can just like it, it takes you not even 30 seconds. I was going to say 30 seconds. It just means that you found this content valuable, and it means that you hopefully want to continue watching. And if you really enjoy watching these videos, we have weekly live videos Monday to Friday. All you need to do is subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification, and you can get notified every time that I go live for the Bitcoin technical analysis on Monday, altcoin technical analysis on Wednesday, and then we have our news events on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and money mindset and wealth management with Wasim on Thursdays. Guys, that is it from me. If you have any questions about what I just covered, anything that did not make sense, please feel free to drop me a comment below, and I'll be sure to answer it. Alrighty, here we go, guys. Here's a really good look at on the hourly. So on the hourly right now, we have possibly a bullish divergence. So from here, you can see this candle right here lines up with the low here on the RSI. We've made a lower low on the hourly, and we've made a higher low on the RSI. Now, this candle that we're on has not closed. It's going to close in 35 minutes. So this little zig to the upside can still move back down if the price continues selling. But we do have a bit of a bullish divergence formed on the 1 hour. So we could see a bit of a rise. Let's quickly chuck on my market cipher B. Let's see if I see any positivity. No, nothing positive just yet. Let's go to the 30-minute. No, nothing really. It's just a little bit of a divergence, but I think we're going to still come back down. There's nothing really supporting us right now here. Our first support is going to be 20,600/620. And if that doesn't do very well, we've got a couple of other stops that Bitcoin could find support and hopefully continue a push to the upside. Of course, I want to see Bitcoin, moon and go to six figures, but we have to be patient and things aren't going to happen overnight. All right, guys, that is it from me. Look out for those price points that I sort of mentioned in today's live stream, because we are selling off, where you need to look at what areas we can find support. And I will see you guys tomorrow for the DC live stream. That's it from me. Enjoy your Monday afternoon, and I will catch you guys tomorrow.